Hi, my name's Teddy. Today in Module 2, I'm going to introduce ADAM 4000 and 4100 series. Here is the outline. This training module will be divided into two parts. First is the introduction of ADAM 4000-4100 series. After that, we will move on to the serial communication, the IS232, IS485 standard, to help you better understand the communication in ADAM serial module. After finishing this module, we were able to perform following tasks. First is identify the module I/O type from its name. The second, we will be able to understand the application structure of different kind of ADAM converter. Third, we can describe the differences between 4000 series and the 4100 series. Last, we will be able to describe IS232 and IS485 serial communication standard. Here is our topic today, ADAM 4000-4100 series. Let's see how ADAM 4000 looks like. As shown in the slide, there are two green connectors, which customer can write the signal into the connector and plug into the module. The module name label makes it easy to know the basic information of the module, such as module name, I/O status, and support input range. There is an initial switch on the right side of the module. You might see an initial pin on the bottom channel of the module. By adjusting the initial switch or short the initial pin to ground, we can make the module into initial mode to change the module configuration. There are two pins, VS plus and ground pin for power input. For ADAM 4000, the power input range is from 10 to 30 volt. But for ADAM 4100, the power input range is wider, from 10 to 48 volt. The operating temperature is also wider in ADAM 4100, from -40 to 85 Celsius degrees. Besides, there is a screw design which is used for the frame ground. For ADAM 4100 series, user can connect the module to the ground to enhance the protection of the module. In this slide is the naming rule for ADAM, which can help us to identify the type of module by its module name. The 40 means I/O module. The 41 means robust I/O module. And for 45, it means converter or repeater. The third bit stands for the module type. For example, the 1 is for analog input, and for 5 is for digital input and output, respectively. Let's start with the ADAM 4000 series, the IS485 I/O module. We can divide ADAM 4000 series into three groups. First is the analog I/O modules. Second is the digital I/O modules. And for the last one are relay output and counter modules. In I/O modules, we can notice that there are some modules with orange color. There are thermocouple input module, which can be used to sense temperature. And for the green one is the PID controller. And for the purple one is the RTD input module, which can also be used for temperature sensing. After knowing the ADAM 4000 series, we are going to introduce three spatial converters. They are IS232 to IS485. USB to IS485, and a fiber to IS485. The reason why we need these converters is because we need the IS485 interface to control the IS485 end device. However, on our PC or laptop, there are only IS232 COM port or USB port, but no IS485 port. These converters can provide the IS485 interface, so user can control the IS485 device easily by using the IS485 converter. As for the fiber optic IS485 converter, the fiber is aimed to extend the transmission distance. We will introduce one by one in the following slide. First one is IS232 to IS485 converter, and it's called Advantech4520. As you can see, there is a converter between IS485 device and your PC. Since the converter will convert IS232 signal to IS485 signal, so you can use your PC to pull in multiple ADAN with IS485 interface. The transmission speed, or you can call it baud rate, we support is from 1200 bit per second to 115.2K bit per second. There's a deep switch on Advantech4520 PCB. We can open the module case to set different data format and baud rate by using the switch. The default setting, the data format is N81, which means no parity bit, a data bit, and one stop bit. We need to use the correct deep switch setting on ADAN to communicate with IS485 device. We will introduce the data format and the baud rate in more details in following slides. Another converter is USB to IS485 converter. Since USB is also a common interface, and this module is more special and convenient because the USB port can provide the power for the ADAN module, so you don't need to connect a power supply for this converter. One more thing, you need to install the driver on laptop or PC before using this module, since we need this driver to convert the USB interface into a virtual COM port. Then we can use this converter to communicate with IS485 device. You will find the COM port number in Windows Device Manager. The last one is fiber to IS485 converter. The advantage of using fiber is because it can provide long distance transmission and prevent lightning and EMI/RFI interference. We have multiple mode fiber and single mode fiber module. The difference between these two modes is that single mode fiber can provide longer transmission distance, which is 15 kilometers. The wiring method is to connect TX and to another IX of the module, so user need to use two converters at the same time to extend the IS485 network. It is not suggested to connect one fiber converter module to another fiber port of the customer's device, since there might be mismatch problem due to the different device. Now let's see the Advantech4100 robust I/O module. As mentioned in the previous slide, 4100 is designed for harsh environment and is easy to deploy and maintain. Advantech4100 module have a screw on the right side of the module, which user can connect the module to ground and increase the protection on module. This slide shows the spec difference between 4000 and the 4100 series. We can see that the operation temperature, the storage temperature, and the power input are both wider in Advantech4100 series. That's why 4100 series can work in harsh environments. Here are some questions you can think about. The answers can be found in the script. After the introduction of ADAM 4000 4100 serial module, let's see what is asynchronous serial communication. We will introduce IS-232 and IS-485 in the following slide. Let's see what's a serial communication. There are two types of data communication: asynchronous and asynchronous communication. Synchronous communication need to use a clock signal to make sure the sender and the receiver are synchronized. However, asynchronous communication doesn't need a clock signal to send data. User can start to send data anytime based on his application. Serial communication is a kind of asynchronous communication. So you can send data anytime you want, but you need to tell the receiver that you are going to send the data with a stop bit, and also a stop bit to tell what is the end of the data. Here is a general serial communication data format, and a customer can decide the data format by themselves. For example, the stop bit have 1 bit, but stop bit can be 1, 1.5, or 2 bit. As for the parity, there can be no parity bit, or 1 parity bit. The parity bit is used for error tracking. So the data format and the total length will be different, just like the text showing here. For example, if there is no parity bit, data length is 8 and start bit is 1. It can express in NA1, which equals to 10 bit. After defining the data format in serial communication, we need to know the speed of the data transfer, which is called serial baud rate. The definition of baud rate is the number of bit transfer per second. The most common baud rate is 9600 bit per second, which means 9600 bits are sent per second. So time of processing each bit is 0.104 millisecond. The baud rate have a range from 50 bps to 11,000 to 5200 bit per second. Here is the IS-232 introduction. IS-232 is for duplex. It has TX port and RX port together. So it means that it can send data and receive data at the same time, and both transmission line can reach 115.2 kbps per second baud rate. However, since both TX and RX are referenced to ground, they are easily to cause error in transmission due to the interference on signal. Besides, IS-232 is a point-to-point transmission, so it can only connect one device. The voltage level definition in IS-232 is shown below. -3 volt to -25 volt is logic 1. The condition is called mark. 3 volt to 25 volt is logic 0. The signal condition is told space. And for -3 volt to 3 volt, it's an invalid region in IS-232. Now let's see what is IS-485. The biggest difference between IS-485 and IS-232 is that IS-485 uses differential data transmission. There's a differential pair, which are data plus and data minus, which use voltage difference to transmit data, so it can provide a good anti-interference ability in data transmission. The transmission distance and speed is better than IS-232, which can provide up to 1200 meter and 10 megabit per second in IS-485 transmission. The voltage level definition in IS485 are shown below. If the voltage difference between data plus and data minus is bigger than 200 mV, it is logic 1. And if the difference is smaller than minus 200 mV, it is logic 0. So we can know the receiver sensitivity is plus minus 200 mV. The voltage between minus 200 mV to 200 mV is the invalid region in IS485. Below diagram shows IS485 transceiver and how data is transmitted in differential pair signal. Here are the questions about the data transmission in IS232 and IS485. The answers can be found in the script. Let's take a look at the real signal transmitted in IS485. This is the waveform on oscilloscope. An ASCII command is sent to ADAM 4018 for seeing how the command is transmitted. According to the IS485 voltage level definition, we can understand each bit is 0 or 1. Noted, the data is transferred from LSB to MSB. Here is the IS485 network topology. The advantage of using IS485 is that this interface allows multiple slave devices connect to a controller. As you can see in the picture, there are many slave devices connected to the same IS485 network. This picture shows how you connect many ADAM with the IS232 COM port on your PC. In IS485 network, one master device can connect up to 31 slave devices, but the whole network distance cannot over 1200 meters. However, there are some limitations for the connected slave devices. The maximum loading resistance is 12k ohm. You can only connect maximum 32 devices in the same network. When you want to extend your network with IS485 transmission, you need a repeater, ADAM 4510, to amplify your signal when the total transmission distance is over 1200 meters. Here I'm going to introduce the IS485 termination resistor. Usually, we will suggest user to use terminal resistor on IS485 network. The common resistance value is about 120 ohm. But why we need this termination resistor? It is because that the termination resistor can help to remove the signal reflection. It can prevent the wrong signal detected by the device. As you can see, if the end of the IS485 wire is open, when the signal reaches to the end, it will reflect back to the source, which causes noise appear on the waveform. Let's see the real IS485 waveform. We use ADAM 4561 to connect ADAM 4024 and see what's the difference for the module with or without the resistor. As you can see, if there is no termination resistor, the waveform have a lot of noise due to the signal reflections. And by adding the resistor, it can reduce the signal reflection and get better waveform. However, adding termination resistor will also reduce the voltage level on IS485. The IS485 level should still larger than the 200 mV for the module to detect the high and low signal. This slide shows the wiring diagram of different communication interface. First is RS232. It's a TX connected to RX, RX connected to TX. From a wiring diagram, we can know that RS232 is full duplex, which means you can send and receive at the same time. Next is RS422. It's TX plus connected to RX plus, TX minus connected to RX minus. It's also full duplex, and the differential signal transmission makes RS422 have good anti-interference ability. Last is RS485. It's data plus connected to data plus, data minus connected to data minus. Since the data cannot send and receive at the same time, RS485 is half duplex. This table summarizes the difference in RS232 and RS485. You can use this table to reinforce your memory. That's all for our module today. Thank you.